You're listening to the Business Building Rockstars Show, where your host, Nicole Holland, gets the lowdown from today's most talented, inspiring, and successful entrepreneurs on what it really takes to reach rockstar status.
Hey there, this is Nicole Holland, and you're listening to episode 12 of the Business Building Rockstars Show. Before I introduce today's guest, I want to tell you about a special giveaway that I'm doing right now. Now, if you've listened to any of my episodes already and you've enjoyed them, or if this is your very first time listening, I'm doing a super cool giveaway that everyone who subscribes, rates, and reviews my podcast gets to win at. I'm giving away an entire Get Seen, Get Heard business building bundle that I normally sell for $97, and every single person who participates gets this prize. The bundle includes training on how to get started with podcasting, webinars, how to create videos, how to get yourself on television, and how to get great photos of yourself for a more professional and powerful presence. And all of that can be yours for free if you decide to participate in this giveaway. Complete details can be found at bbrshow.com/launch. But basically, how it works is that if you have not yet rated and reviewed my podcast, all you have to do is subscribe on iTunes, have a listen, let me know what you think by giving my show a star rating plus a written review, and then head on over to bbrshow.com/launch. That's LAUNCH. And you'll fill out a form there with your Apple ID, your email address, and your first name. And then that way I can set you up with the Get Seen, Get Heard business building bundle as my way of thanking you for your support and participation. On today's show, I'm talking with Navid Moazzez, who is well known and recognized for helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses through creating virtual summits. During our interview, we talk about doing things for the right reasons, taking baby steps to business success, and also about the most common mindset traps that keep entrepreneurs stuck. So without any further delay, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right. Hello, entrepreneur. Welcome to the Business Building Rockstars Show. I'm so excited today to have Navid Moazzez with us. He is a lifestyle entrepreneur, an online marketing expert, personal branding strategist, and a virtual summit expert. Navid helps entrepreneurs create, promote, and profit from virtual summits to skyrocket their business and brand online. He ran the Branding Summit, which was the largest personal branding conference in the world, and his mission is to inspire and help entrepreneurs live life on their terms so they can achieve their ideal lifestyle. I'm so stoked to have Navid back with us. He was hanging out with me for the first ever Business Building Rockstar Summit, and he is coming to us live from Barcelona right now. And Navid, are you ready to rock?
Yeah, totally. I'm ready to rock.
Awesome. So why don't you bring me up to speed, because a lot's been going on for you and you're doing a lot of new stuff, and you've got some pretty exciting things in the works right now. So bring us up to speed.
Yeah, it's been an exciting journey since you interviewed me for your summit in 2015. So now I'm mainly focused on helping, as you said in the intro, my students with their virtual summits. So I've been spending a lot of time in my community for virtual summit mastery. So they're really helping them, making the program the best it can be, improving that, recording videos, and also, focusing a lot on growing my own list, building relationships, and now moving from Cancun, a little stop in New York for some live events. And then now at the time of this recording, I'm in Barcelona. I just moved in here. So I really enjoy it. Probably will stay here for a little while. So it's been an exciting journey, keeping me busy, to say the least.
That's awesome. One of my favorite cities. When I lived in Europe, it was like, I loved to travel, but man, Barcelona has got some energy to it.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, you always hear, if I go to kind of my living room, you always hear some noise from the street. It's like, it's impossible here to get rid of it. But at least where I'm at now, my office is pretty quiet. So I'm thankful for that.
Very nice. All right. So Navid, we're going to get into some personal stuff today, and we'll see where it goes. I'm not really too sure, but I love hearing about your story. You're such an inspiring young man, and I say young man because you're still a young man to me. And it's wonderful to watch your evolution and to learn about how far you've come and how far you are still, like, you're just on this upward trajectory. I love it. So why don't we start out? Take me back to when you were really young, and what did you want to be when you grew up?
I think when it's kind of nice since I'm now living in Barcelona where, soccer, or as they call it here, football, this is like the biggest sport, right, in Spain. So I actually wanted to become, a football star, soccer star, whatever, for a US audience. But I practiced a lot on doing that. So that was probably my dream, like a childhood dream, to become, something with sports. And I think it still helped me today, even though, it's very hard to make it in soccer, but I still played in high school in the US. I did play like, Division 3, something like that in my country. So it's not that bad, but obviously I realized it was not the path how I would make money. But yeah, it was, if I would say it like that, yeah, that's what I wanted to become when I was like 6 years old or so. I was like always watching soccer on TV and also playing outside and with my friends. So that was my dream.
That's cool. And I think it's interesting you said it was not where you were going to make money, because I think a lot of times people think professional sports people are making so much money, and it's just not true. I mean, my original career field was professional sports and entertainment. I did marketing with Washington Sports and Entertainment, and we had what is now a defunct CISL league. And those guys hustled. Like, our guys who were the pro, soccer players were out there also with jobs, because there's just, it's definitely not a get rich quick job.
Yeah, for sure. No, totally. I mean, that's what I realized too. So some people make it, some don't. It's the same, I guess, also in business, with some people, they have what it takes, but usually I think in sports, it's still not just, I can say, hey, I want to become a basketball player, but I don't have the talent. I'm not this tall to maybe become a great basketball player for whatever reason. So there's some other things that plays a role there as well. But I think if you hustle, you can come pretty far in anything you set your mind to.
Absolutely. Now, what was your first entrepreneurial endeavor? When did you decide, I want to be an entrepreneur? Because at some point you also wanted to be a lawyer, I believe.
Well, I don't think I really wanted to become a lawyer. It's just that I didn't know what else to do, and that's kind of how I started. I was in the US. I came back to Sweden, finished up high school, and then I got into one of the top law schools in Sweden, moved to Stockholm. But I had a goal to probably work for a top tier law firm. Pretty much all my friends, they were like seeing the big checks, they're going to make a lot of money. But as I am like sitting here as an entrepreneur, like a lifestyle entrepreneur, traveling and doing these things, what do you make? If you only look at the money, maybe you make a good lawyer like 10,000. Maybe if you work in New York or something like that, 20, 30,000 a month. If you're working for a firm, that's what you can expect. But look at entrepreneurs, like you can make like 10K in a day in a launch, or that's kind of what, I've had those experiences now, so I don't really feel that was a bad choice to even drop out of there. I didn't miss out on the money if it was for the reason I went in there. I think people can get into law for the right reasons if they really are interested in it. But for the money, you will definitely probably fail eventually, or just give up, or just what I did, drop out, because it was not what I wanted to do in the first place. Even though I was getting good grades, I could study for it and I could, perform well in whatever cases we had. But then I realized, also during that time, I found a lot of personal development, like starting to read Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And then for our work week, met friends in kind of different fields, and they were running these cool businesses, traveling. And I got like very interested, because I was sitting there studying like 12 hours per day for my exams. And I was like depressed in my apartment. It was winter, I think, in Sweden, it gets very dark. And then I just decided, I have to make something work, but it was like baby steps. So maybe first I went to like a conference or met up with some people. And that was already in 2010. I started traveling a little bit. And then I, was not until like 2012 when I got my mentor, first mentor there, found him on a forum. So it was kind of interesting how I got into this, and then procrastinated even more, like until my younger brother, he unfortunately passed away in 2013, as I think I mentioned this also on your summit. And that was kind of the aha moment. I really have to make something work. I really have to stop procrastinating and made a promise, like, to my family and my brother, to myself too, to make things happen. And I think that really taking this adversity into something better and, turning this into success, that's really the hustle I have, like the superpower to always making things work.
Very cool. So I just want to go back a little ways. So let's fill in the blanks a bit about your story between when you were little Navid and you wanted to be a football star, and then a law student. So did you have anything happen between there that kind of like was an entrepreneurial impulse, or what was that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always had that in some way, but it was not. I think for my family, my dad is a doctor, my mom is a teacher, so they were not entrepreneurial. I don't have that in the family, really. Well, my dad now he has his own practice, but as we all know, it's not really the same as starting a company. I mean, he has a skill, he can just work for whatever he does. So I didn't have that or encouragement to become an entrepreneur. Rather, going to school, that was the path. But I was always hustling in some way. I think in the early days, I was like trading these hockey cards. I don't know if you've heard about those, but I was like trying to, like, I don't know, trick people or make money off them.
I collected cards. I know cards.
Right. So I was like having those I've had this period. I kind of went in cycles. So I had this period with hockey cards when I was like 10 years old. I forgot exactly, but it was like, going to school with these hockey cards, trying to get better cards, like trading with people. So that, I guess that was like the hustle. And also later on, I got very interested in the sneakers, shoes. And I started like seeing, okay, there's a value in these shoes. Really? People are selling them on eBay. So I kind of did that a little bit. Like, that was not really a business venture. I just lined up to buy a pair of shoes. They were very, maybe something by, Nike and Kanye West or something like that. Bought them, sold them for like, they were maybe $200 to purchase, sold them for maybe $900,000. So it was kind of a big profit there. Wow. But as we all know, I don't want to line up this for shoes in order to make a profit. So yeah, but it was still pretty fun while it lasted. I did it a little bit, and mostly actually, if I looked at everything I purchased, it probably was a big loss if you just look at it for that way. But that was quite funny. And, then as you traveled, I got rid of everything, all my collection.
Yeah. That's the way it is when you travel. I had baseball cards. That was my thing and my brother's thing. And we used to actually go to the Orioles games, and we'd wait out back after, at the door after, for the players to come out and sign autographs. So we would collect and trade and go to the hobby shop and buy different ones to, have the best cards. And then they are gone. Yeah, definitely. When you're living abroad and you're moving.
Yeah, that happens. So I had to get rid of everything when I started traveling. But I still, there's a bit like a misconception there a little bit, like people refer to it as, you're a digital nomad. Well, that's true to some extent, but I'm not a backpacker either. I like to live nice. I like to have my office here. When I got to Barcelona, I know I'm going to stay here for at least 3 months when I got here, but now I think I'm going to stay like 6 months. So okay, now I really have a space to have an office. I put like a big 27-inch screen. Probably gonna get, even if we do another interview something like this year, I might have even better lights here. So I just moved in here. So I'm trying to see what can I do to make this really a good place. I'm maybe getting a whiteboard. So I really can invest in some things, and maybe I'm getting rid of that later, but I still have 6 good months in a city where I can really hustle and make things work while experiencing the culture as well, which is important to me, and seeing what maybe also getting into learning Spanish. My girlfriend is from Mexico, so I should really, be learning Spanish at some point. So
definitely. And you just left Cancun, so
maybe it's the way. But when you're building your business, you're so busy, and it was not my focus. It was not. If I would have said it, okay, I put that in the calendar. I tried, but it just didn't work for some reason. So I have to make it, up there on the list in order to do it. And I think at some point, maybe after, the next Virtual Summit Mastery launch, I will have, some downtime, especially during the summer months, where I can, put my head down and focus, at least in the mornings, on my Spanish. I have this audio tape.
Yeah. Or just have her not speak English to you for an hour.
Yeah, but she wants to actually even practice English. So but she wants to also teach me Spanish, but it's just up to me to, take action. So.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Cool. So you mentioned a mentor. Who was your first mentor, or if you don't mind, or who was
Yeah,
the most
sure. I mean,
inspiring?
he's a good friend of mine now, actually. He lives in Colombia, Nate Bunger. He just kind of not, we were going to start like similar what I'm doing now. It's kind of interesting how it all works. It was kind of, we started talking about different things I could do in personal development, business, et cetera, et cetera. But now when it all comes down to it, it's all navidmoazzez.com. It's kind of what I started eventually, even though I went through some cycles, there's ups and downs, trying to start a fitness website and so on. And so it's different things I did. But then after my brother passed, I just decided to go for it. I wanted to learn more about this world of online marketing, getting better at things, and also interviewing some people, like Pat Flynn, which I started with, and some other people as well then later for my summit. And I just learned from like building relationships and, interviewing people, finding out, into the questions I wanted to know about, taking online courses, joining masterminds. So this early kind of mentor, he just got me into this. He didn't really have the connections and maybe with everyone in the space, but he still was a few steps ahead of me, and like he had been an entrepreneur for many years. Now he has this kind of retreat or hotel in Cali, Colombia, and he's living his life, and he always had some good advice when I started there, especially with the mindset stuff, and I'm thankful for that.
Nice. And how did you did it just kind of happen where you met him and you're like, whoa, I need an entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur, a mentor, or were you seeking out somebody to help you get to that next step?
Yeah, well, it was like I had already been starting like Googling frequently. I was kind of in this mode where like trying to find things, and it's very easy when you start out and find the wrong people, like find people you shouldn't trust, for example, especially when you're just getting into it and you don't know, who's the authorities in the space. And I just happened to, I mean, actually, I wouldn't probably go there today, but I looked at the Warrior Forum, and which can find a lot of spammy people. Warrior Forum is like an internet marketing forum, one of the biggest ones. But there I found him, and it's kind of not the typical forum where I would expect to find someone like that. But we really connected, and now we are friends because we have similar interests, and for their lifestyle design, entrepreneurship, and stuff like that. And now, as I've grown my business, he's like looking at me like he actually asks me for advice. So I'm like taking the opposite role sometimes. So it's cool how it all can shift as you grow. He helped me in the beginning. Now I can help him if he wants to know something about, let's say, what I'm doing with my business or summits, for example, then I have something of value to offer to him too.
That's awesome. So now when you started your business, you didn't go into it like, I am going to create a summit. Like you mentioned, you started with the fitness site and it sort of evolved. Is that because people were asking you to do things, or how did you come up with summits as your niche?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, because when I started, it was just a documentation of my journey pretty much. I started interviewing people like Pat Flynn. I was learning and, blogging, writing, I mean, pretty much featuring other people. That's how I started. But that's, look at, for example, John Lee Dumas. He's also on your show. Like, he built a business from entrepreneurial fire and then found really what other people were asking him. Like, that's kind of how he found out about podcasting. He didn't know about that when he started. And I'm not sure if that's always the best approach to take. Like, if you have a skill set, by all means, you can go after that. That would be awesome. But I didn't have that. So I didn't have like a skill set I can just offer to people right away. So I took this approach, did some podcasting, and trying to get into personal branding, which kind of worked. I got some clients there because people saw my website and they saw what I was doing in the space. But it's still very broad, personal branding. I'm a personal branding consultant. That everyone is that pretty much. So I wanted still to do something with it. It's just that when I stumbled across summits, I decided to go for it, create a branding summit. I found some health summits. They were doing really well, 6 to 7 figures. And I was like, wow, how can they do that with just, having really just an opt-in page and then people buying the all access pass. But that's kind of how I studied the funnels. I got into it. I was learning a lot. So probably spent hundreds of hours just learning, in addition to all the time, as it takes a lot of time to just interview the people and scheduling this. So that's what I did. And then people, as we got closer to my summit, they started asking me all these questions. How do you get speakers? What about the tech? So I got my audience, because I had a small but pretty engaged audience even before the summit. There were around 1,000 people. Obviously with the summit, I grew it even more. So even the people that attended the summit, they asked me how I did it. So I launched a pilot program, which is now, my flagship course, Virtual Summit Mastery. So I started making money, with it before I even created anything, like during my summit. And now it's made well over 6 figures, and I'm going to scale that up this year. It's just started very small. And now I found my niche. And if someone mentions Virtual Summit, usually my name comes to mind, because I think I really branded my course and what I do in a way that kind of makes it also a bit different than everyone else out there. So if you go to Virtual Summit Mastery, it looks really good. It's like the design, everything is very professional there, which stands out compared to, there's some other telesummit courses from the past out there, but not to mention any names, they don't look very professional. Like when you kind of look at not only their pages, but their production and everything. So and also it doesn't hurt to have your be featured entrepreneur Huffington Post, and they say good things about you. So that's also how I position myself in that space and being the go-to virtual summit guy.
Absolutely. You've got a lot of people singing your praises, and you've been had a hand in a lot of really successful endeavors. You've taught people who've taken your teaching about summits, and they've just killed it as well.
Yeah.
One thing I want to just touch on real quick for the listeners is you illustrate this really well with your experience, and something that I preach a lot about is don't get stuck on what it's supposed to look like. I think that's a huge problem that entrepreneurs face, especially starting out, where they have this very direct, like, I'm going to do this, and this is how it's going to look. I'm going to have a group program. There's going to be 10 people in it. I'm going to deliver it like this on Mondays and Wednesdays and da, 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 da. And they're so sure about that. And then they think, okay, now I just have to figure out how to make that work. And then they create all this content, and then it fails. Like, I don't know what the odds are, but I would venture to guess more than 9 times out of 10, it will fail, because you're missing so much there that you just don't see. And so I love that you allowed your business to be fluid, and that you came into it with you love money. And that, I think, is really, we haven't like flat out said it. And I think that's really important to be able to say, hey, I'm in it for the money. I want to make a difference. There's all kinds of other benefits. I want to travel, but at the end of the day, I want money, because money affords me the freedom that I desire. Right. Money affords me to live anywhere in the world and to be able to hop into a beautiful apartment for 3 months. And this is what I want. I want to be rich, and that's cool. And I think a lot of people are, through conditioning, afraid to admit that. And whatever your business was going to look like, it was the money that was the driving force. I hear, if I'm hearing you right.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I guess it was with the law school stuff. I guess it was some part to it that I wanted to have a healthy income, but now, but then it was also like, I didn't expect to, even in the beginning, I thought, okay, I'm going to live this backpack traveling lifestyle. That kind of when I started getting into more lifestyle design, just getting enough to get by. I live in Thailand. But then as I grew, I wanted to be able to still scale a business and really make a difference with my business. And the more money I make, the more I can put into the business too, and also afford my lifestyle. But I think that's the biggest driver too, and make more money to even get more customers. Let's say for my program now, Virtual Summit Mastery, it doesn't mean, even though it's niche now, it doesn't mean I have to do this program forever. I'm known for, let's say I do this product launch as well. Maybe I do a course on this, or list building, I grow my list, or something else. Related topics to what my audience are asking about. So I can still branch out, because they know my expertise. They see what I'm doing in a day-to-day basis in my business. I can still offer like entrepreneurs and business owners some courses on this topics. Or what I've been doing really well also is to bring on other people, promote products as an affiliate for them. So I've been, that's been a really healthy income stream as well, in addition to my own stuff.
And the cool thing is that you can teach any of that. And I think that even though you may not see it, and it may not be the right path for you, but again, you are young, and I love that. I love how far you've come in such a short period of time. But who's to say that in 10 years you're not going to be in a totally different direction? But you're building up this business around Navid Moazzez. It's about you as the entrepreneur. You can go any way you want, and I think that that's really important to just acknowledge and appreciate, because so many people get stuck in the way it's supposed to look that nothing gets done, and they don't move forward, and they struggle, and they are looking for external validation, external opportunities, because they're not focusing really on what lights them up and allowing the flow, just allowing themselves to follow the path of least resistance, really.
Right. And also, as you do that, like, you just listen to your audience. I mean, I'm constantly seeing, like, segmenting my list and serving my audience. I know what they want. I'm doing that even more now. I just wished I did it from the very beginning. It's just powerful when you can see, like, you don't have to send the same email to everyone on your email list, but rather segment. So you send maybe to, 1,000 people instead of 10,000 people, and they can still be more powerful. First of all, you're not getting, as many complaints or opt-outs, because you're sending, like, just people who are not simply interested in this topic. So that's been really working for me, to figuring out, like, what do they want from me and how can I serve them better moving forward.
Awesome. So we will be wrapping up shortly, and I'll have you let us know how to reach out to you, how to get more information about Virtual Summit Mastery and what you're up to. But before we do, I got a few questions.
Sure.
So, favorite online tool that has simplified your life?
Oof, there's so many tools. Let's see which one I should pick.
Well,
actually,
I'll say before we started rolling, you were preaching about something that I don't use. So why don't you share that?
Story, actually, let me just tell you why. So I was just, the biggest struggle I think entrepreneurs, at least online entrepreneurs, can face when they're getting to a certain stage in their business, that's integrations. What I mean by that is really how tools talk to each other. So that's, if someone could come up with that's kind of like Zapier and all this, but it's hard still to piece things together. Let's say the tracking when you're doing more launches and stuff like that. But a tool I am really impressed by, just testing it now, as a side note, I'm not promoting it or anything like that yet, but it's Clickfunnels. It's easy for me as a non-designer to create, a very good landing page that looks exactly like my designer would have done it. Like, okay, there's to some extent I can't do graphics myself. So if I want to have graphics on my website, maybe get that designed, or a background image, I would probably have that by my designer. But if it's elements like that, you can just add those into the website. So I am moving a lot of things over there. I'm just trying to figure out how this talks really well with Infusionsoft and, like, tracking, especially when I'm doing affiliate launches. But if I can figure this out, then this is a game changer for me, because I can do a lot myself within there, and it doesn't have to take me away from really running my business and doing all these things. I can set a page up in 5 minutes, or a whole funnel up in, let's say, 10 minutes, and it's good to go. So that's what I like.
Nice. Now, we know that you are a traveler, and I know that you're a pretty healthy guy. What's a guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. I love, sometimes when I'm up late at night or something like that and working on, let's say, a launch, I love to have some dark chocolate.
That's so funny. That has come up multiple times. So Christopher John
it's healthy too.
Yes.
You said I'm healthy. That's true. So rather than eating like a big, like something that's not, like, have a little bit of dark chocolate, and the more cacao, the better, so it's like 70 to 80% or so. Maybe my girlfriend doesn't like when I have like the 85 or 90. This just gets too much, but it's pretty good. I like it.
You and AJ both.
Yeah.
AJ Amex, that's his guilty pleasure as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. A friend of mine. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we were just talking about that a couple weeks ago. So awesome. What is one daily practice or ritual that helps you stay focused and centered on the task at hand?
I think it would be, well, sometimes you get off track with, like, everything, but I do like, when I'm really focused, I go to the gym. I'm actually just hired a trainer, so I'm going to start with him. But also another thing besides that, this is just it should be part of my ritual, but also it's the writing every day. Like, I do a lot. It's not always for my blog. Like, people think I have to write for my blog, but I tend to write 500 to 1,000 words per day. I send out a lot of emails to my list. I write, maybe for a blog post or for a launch sales page. So that's been working well, because I've become a much better writer, and it helps me to make more money. So that's a good thing. That also I try to do it right when I get up, or, throughout the day too, if I have different tasks, but that works for me.
Awesome. Well, let us know, where can listeners find you at?
Yeah, so my personal website is just navidmoazzez.com. You can find some info there. But, since my program, Virtual Summit Master, is coming up, and, depending on when you're listening to this, you can still get a cheat sheet I have for you. It's the 7 steps to create, promote, and profit from a virtual summit. That's what Chandler started with, for example, when we did the Self-Publishing Success Summit, and we got like almost 30,000 opt-ins and $370,000 in revenue. So he started with this cheat sheet, kind of filled it out. So that works really well if you just take action. So go to virtualsummitmastery.com / BBR show.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so let's do this link, and you can put your link in the show notes. So I encourage you to go through Nicole's link there. So
that's cool. Awesome. Navid likes to track everything, and so this is a great way.
Everything. Yeah. I want to see where people are coming from. I'm just getting geeking out on this stuff lately. When I started out, I didn't care, but now it's just interesting to see, because I can also provide more value to my audience. Like, hey, I write a case study. I can say, hey, the people came from affiliates. This many people came from Facebook ads, and so on. So it just gets more interesting to me when you're getting more advanced in your business to do that.
Absolutely. And it's not that difficult. And I just want to, put that in here as well. If any of our listeners are thinking, I would like to go on podcasts as a guest to grow my reach and grow my list, it's a fantastic thing. And we talked about Pretty Links off air, but Pretty Link is on my resource page as well. I would not do anything without it. When you're going and you're creating lead magnets specific for the audience that you're talking to, and you're putting a tracking on it specific to the audience you're talking to, then you can even send an email. For example, I was a guest on Mark Mawhinney's podcast, Natural Born Coaches, not that long ago. We were talking about lead magnets. So I customized a lead magnet for his audience, and I customized the email. So when somebody opted in,
that's awesome. I did that for, I was just a guest on EO Fire. So I did that for John Lee Dumas' audience, Fire Nation. So I just had I had an exclusive lead magnet for them. So they sign up and they get like I say, hey, thanks so much for listening to EO Fire. So that's a smart way to do it, especially if you think you're going to get maybe some traction from it, or just, it's a great way to even customize your emails. Maybe it's a different segment. You can see what they are interested in, what they are responding to, and building this, know, like, and trust factor even faster with them through, a sequence in your email. So I like that.
Absolutely. And then even for me, I don't go too far into emails just because time consuming. It's just not where I'm putting my energy right now. But for example, I had someone reach out to me who joined my Master Your Mindset Challenge. She heard me on the Dearest Doula podcast for doulas. And so I sent her in that follow-up, thanks for listening, and so on. She responded. Now she's in my community. Well, I know exactly where she came from. I know exactly what she's interested in learning about.
That's awesome.
On the email, because I am very much, as you know, I do a lot of video stuff. I don't do Periscope so much because I like talking with people rather than to people.
You're right.
So that's when I have somebody who comes into my community and they tell me, here's where I'm from, here's how I know about you. It's like, awesome. That makes sense to me.
That's what I did for this links particular. I use Pretty Link. So I have the, in your case, I would probably have your affiliate link point to that. So it's just an easier way to remember, virtualsummitmastery.com / BBR show. So go there and you can find out more information about that if you're interested in virtual summits or just, getting to know me better.
Absolutely. Navid, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. It is night where you're at. So all the best.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode. I love you tons, and I look forward to connecting with you again next time for episode number 13, where my guest John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire and I hang out and talk about how to accomplish goals, how to achieve a win-win all around, and about John's big move. All that coming up next time. Talk to you then.
And there you have it. If you enjoyed this episode of the Business Building Rockstars Show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss a thing. And visit bbrshow.com for all the show notes and links to resources discussed on today's show. Plus, lots more.